Like when I first heard this album, I was actually pondering if whether or not this was one of the best albums I'd ever listened to. Hello. Welcome back to the Beat Sounds and Debate podcast. And today we're going to be covering Kofi Stone's album, Nobody Cares Till Everybody Does. And today we have myself, Jordan, and 3 other great guests. So if everyone can just introduce themselves.
My name is Zoe.
My name's Dom.
My name's Fred.
Okay, good. I think this album gets a 4.5, man. I'm actually torn between a 4.5 and a 5. No, really, I think as a project, this is great. As a project from the UK, it's even more great. I don't really think there's a lot of projects that have come from the UK within the past 10, 15 years that can really compete with the sophistication of this album from both a technical standpoint but also from a conceptual standpoint. And what's crazy is that we have like a diamond in the rough essentially who has almost like no notoriety around his name, at least relative to other kind of artists, within the UK. Like when I first heard this album, I was actually pondering if whether or not this was one of the best albums I'd ever listened to, because like he starts off the album quite strong, but then it's like, where is he gonna go from here? Like, is it gonna start strong and then tail off? But it's a thing of like the album is just consistently great from the first track, to the last, and I think I'll leave it there. But we can open, obviously, the discourse once we all kind of give our opinions on it.
I'll give this album a 4 based on the fact that at times I struggle to listen to an album through. And so the 4 is based off of my own badness when it comes to listening to albums. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah. But lyrically, I was like, oh. Like it caught me, and then after that I was like, I'm sold. And I hadn't heard much previously from him, so going into it quite a novice, and then hearing him lyrically, I was just like, okay, I could listen to you a lot more often.
I think this is his first ever project, as well, which makes it even madder.
That's promising.
Yeah,
very promising.
For real.
I think me personally, I give it a 4.9.
Okay.
4.9.
Wow.
It's a technical score, but I give it the 4.9 mainly because I feel like, although I had a discussion literally just before this as well, we were saying like I don't see how he tops this, but I'm intrigued to see how he tops it.
Do you know what I mean? He tries to top it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I give that little leeway to allow him to top it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know where he goes from here. But I say the 4.9, and it's basically a 5. To be fair, it's just me being a bit harsh as I agree. But it's basically a 5. But I say it because it's consistent all the way through, like you said. But also, first run through it was just, this guy's a crazy lyricist.
Yeah.
But then I listened again and it was like, this guy's a crazy storyteller.
Yeah.
Then I listened again and I was like, his flows are cold. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like
melodies.
It was like the structure. And I feel like it was quite like an old school vibe in terms of the beats, but he modernized it with his lyricism sort of thing. So as much as some of it was a bit boom bap rap-y, he's rapping and I'm like, nah, this ain't old school. This is something different.
Yeah,
like,
it brings you into like a new world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you're in Kofi Stone's.
This is it.
Like,
he takes you in there.
May I?
That's me, man. Yeah, I'd say 4.9.
The reason why I interrupt, because that's literally why I rate it a 4.5. Because I think for me, I had no idea who he was before I heard of it. like I said to you guys off camera, when I got sent through the link, I thought it was one of you lot's bedrooms.
You
I was like,
rolled your eyes.
I was like, okay, cool, I guess. You know what I mean? I'll give it a listen. So obviously, first few tracks, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we're in. Are we staying here though?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And we just went on it's an absolute journey. He lets us. He's very transparent, very vulnerable. He even reminded me there's levels to this lyricism thing.
Yes.
In a sense that, you know, there's being lyrical in terms of, oh, that's a 6 simile or 6 metaphor. Then there's actual word choice.
Yeah.
Then there's how you display those words and, you know, the double rhyming patterns and etc. So yeah, he definitely, like, in terms of the skill of rapping, he's very technically clean.
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
what I'm saying? He's like a very, very clean footballer. You know, someone
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
technically
yeah.
sound, right?
Just polished.
Very polished,
Yeah.
right? I think it only take the 0.5 for me that's missing is, we mentioned earlier, what was mentioned was like, you know, he is very boom bap rap, but he does have a melodic side to him. I would have loved to see more range from him, because once I heard that melodic side to him, I was like, I want more. I want more of that, because I think I can hear that he's got a lot more range, and I think that I'm looking forward to more projects because I know that he's going to push the boat out, hopefully. So yeah, I'd give it a 4.5. It's an amazing journey into his world. So yeah, we'll discuss more.
Cool. Okay, then I guess as far as this album goes, like, what do you think makes it different to other projects that's been released, particularly projects that's been released in the UK?
I can go.
Go for it.
I think the way that he painted the picture,
Yeah.
I think it's almost as I'm rooting for him now, because the way that he painted the picture, it made it very relatable. Even though I haven't gone through certain experiences that he speaks on, he made it very relatable, and I just felt like I was there with him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so bringing me into his world is the main thing as to why I think, you know what, this guy's got a story to tell, and the light needs to be shone on him. You know,
100%. I think it's like, part of it is the vulnerability, that he shows, like, and the honesty that he shows as well. It's like he's pouring his heart in every lyric, and it's like, okay, like you said, you're with him now. Like, and I'm rooting for him. And even though all the stories might not relate to you personally, you actually know. You think, I know what you went through, kind of thing. And it's almost like you can apply that same story to so many other stories of us in London or in England, or obviously he's from Birmingham, but it's in terms of even him being from Birmingham, it's like
caught me off guard.
It caught me off guard. Like, I'm like, swear out.
Well,
like,
couldn't you hear it in his voice?
It's not a strong Birmingham accent.
Okay.
This is, and I think it didn't sort of, you know, like if you might hear like a Millions or something, or someone who you think, you know, we're ignorant Londoners sometimes, and you think, you've got an accent, but with him, I didn't really care, to be fair, because of the stories were so clean, and, you know, the lyricism was so good, and the cadence, everything was just so spot on that I didn't care about an accent. It was just, this music is good music, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I know that we were saying about being brought into his world, but it also had a thing of like, our worlds are similar in terms of the beats, and I feel like I could remember being younger and listening to music that my parents were listening to, and he has now brought that forward and has given it a different coat,
a fresh perspective.
Facts.
But the perspective is from me at the age that I am now, and being able to look back at some of the experiences that he's talking about and being like, damn, I went through that too.
Right.
But it's comforting because it's not separate from like the experience and not the experience, but the experience happening for him and the music, like the melodies and the beats and flows. It just felt more so taking a chunk from there and a chunk from there, but it's still being warm.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
It does.
It does.
We're
in the same room. Trust me.
I think like I think this project is really interesting, and I think what's also interesting is like the times that it's been released in as well, right? Because when we kind of think of the UK, as big as the UK scene is to us, it's still very microscopic relative to other scenes, you know, around the world, because the UK isn't really a big place, so to speak, right? But this project was released in 2019, yet no one here had actually heard of his name until, you know, we brought forth
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago for you lot to listen to it and come and discuss it. Like, why do you think it has taken such a long time for people to start giving him the credit that he deserves?
To be honest with you, I think it's twofold. Yeah, music like this has to travel through people.
Okay.
Unfortunately, so it traveled through you guys, and that's how we got it.
Yeah.
There's no other way, because unfortunately we don't yet have the infrastructure here to have such a varied palette of rap.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's one. And then two, he doesn't subscribe to the
convention.
Like, there wasn't a drop of braggadocious rap really in this. It was just very
Not explicitly.
Like
Busker flow. That's just
Busker flow.
that's braggadocious.
He's talking his talk.
Yeah.
There's always going to be an element of that as a rapper in it. You get what I'm saying? But for the most part, it wasn't like overly toxic or overly braggadocious. It was just very just like, hey, sit down, let me talk to you, let me paint this picture for you.
I think in saying that, I think it's quite a raw piece of work. So like, and I mean in terms of like, it's not tainted in terms of he's not taking any influence or anything from anything that's happening at the moment in terms of music, if that makes sense. So he's not following a crowd or nothing. He's saying, this is the music I want to make. You know what I mean? I love this music. This is the music I want to make.
It's very introspective.
Oh.
Very introspective.
Yes, definitely.
And again, that's what makes it more. That's what makes you want to kind of root for him, because it's like, we can tell this is your personal experience, but we relate to it so much. So it's like, yo, we want the best for you because we're going through the same thing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So.
I think it's what you said earlier though, which is quite interesting, because there is levels to rap, you know, because there's the ability to actually rap, right? Which if you're a rapper, you'd expect to be able to do to, you know, a competent degree, right? But then, and as you say, like, there's, you know, using words for words' sakes and then choosing your words carefully. Like, there's such a strong layer of emotional intelligence to his bars, to his songs, which really draws people in, you know. And I think when we kind of look at the UK scene, right, it is very stifling as far as the variety that people feel like they can operate within, right? This album just feels like a departure. It almost feels like there is no influence from the UK, so to speak, and he's getting it straight from the Americas.
Yeah.
The golden era.
The golden era. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's it.
It's like you can really hear that he's a student of the craft.
That's what I'm saying. Music he wants to make.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Like,
and it's coming real strong from the heart. 'Cause I heard Jay-Z.
Early Jay-Z.
Early Jay-Z.
It's that Skippy.
Yeah.
Skippy flow. Yeah.
Stop it. We're gonna have to run that at some point, you know, because that flow there. And again, it comes down to word choice, because it's like, not only you're using the right words so it hits the listener, you're using the right words so it doesn't really stray off the flow or the beat.
Yeah.
So when he's rapping, he literally sounds like a hi-hat. It's mad.
In
You
sync,
can't
like,
do that
Yeah.
if you're not a good rapper. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's levels to this. Like, not every rapper can
He
do
also, it's almost like he's telling you how he got where he is, if that makes sense. So like with Busker Flow, you see his life journey in it. So like, obviously in the beginning, it's just him being him, like with his sister and whatnot. Then he's obviously going through relationship problems and whatnot as well. And then it's almost like after that relationship went left, now I'm doing me now. Like, so it's my time now. Like, okay, I've left that. this is my time. So now it's his time. He's being a busker. But at this time, this is when he's sort of honing his craft.
Yeah.
Like, he's just showing everyone, this is what I can do, you know. Like this is me. Skippy flows. I can do melody. I can do everything, basically.
Yeah.
And then you can go back into the story again and say,
Yeah.
I'm just carrying on my journey, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So it's you can see, even though you ain't heard much of him, in one album, you're like, all right, cool. I see where you're coming
There's
from.
range.
He literally
Yes.
turned around and was like, I have something to say.
Yes.
And I'm not going to, at least I have something to say, but the way he's gone about it, he has opened the floor for us to listen.
Right.
That's
he
it.
hasn't forced it down no one's throat, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you know what I think is quite interesting? Yeah, like I don't know if you lot watched it. I've been watching the Kanye West documentary, right?
Are we getting into that now? Yeah.
No. Well, this is what I just want. There's just there's like a similarity I want to touch upon.
Yeah.
In the sense that you had the college dropout almost not come to life, and even if it did not come out on the scale that such a great project deserves.
Yeah.
You know, like, would you say that this project is kind of within that ballpark?
In terms of what Kanye was doing at the time, and in the environment he was doing it in, most definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Something non-conventional in, something in a industry where this is somewhat unheard of. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with you. I think obviously it goes without saying that Kanye definitely had a lot more range.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely similar
Yeah.
in terms of the impact.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
I'd say so. I think it gave me that sort of feeling that Kanye gives me, what used to give me, I say.
Yeah.
Old school Kanye. Like, obviously it's up for debate about Kanye. Controversial, but Kanye used to give me a particular feeling, innit? But then I'd like, same way J. Cole and even early Drake, Kendrick, all of these, that they used to just rap. Like, and I hate the term rapper, but at the same time, I know rappers will listen to it and be like, "Whoa, okay, I need to up my levels now." Do you know what I mean? Like, so, and I think that's the same with when Kanye dropped his first. It was like rappers must have listened to it and thought, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right." Like,
Just talking that talk.
Yeah. This is what I'm dealing with now. So I'm gonna need to be a lyricist now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think, and that's all valid. And I think my point was more to the fact that, like, College Dropout almost came out like on an independent rap independent rap label.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the notoriety that it would have got if it hadn't been on like Rockefeller. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%,
So what do you think the impact would be with this album if it was to have gotten more of a mainstream push?
I don't feel like. I feel like there would be a lot of comparison to the likes of like Loyal Kana.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have overshadowed what the album was standing for and what it was giving its audience. So I'm glad in a way that it didn't get that, because I feel like it would be a thing of, oh, he's come out with this album now and everyone wants to go and see him, and everyone, but everyone is not sitting and taking it in.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Not
Do you know what I
receiving it the
mean?
way it needs to be received.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like how the journey has come to be with this album, it's perceived in a more, okay, I get it. Whereas like 2 minutes to listen in, cool, next album. Whereas I think that's what happens when it is pushed through the industry.
Got you. Go on,
You know
Fred.
what? I definitely hear you on that. Because it seems as though once something is like mainstream or has now been pushed out to the masses, it's very much microwave. We'll listen to it and then we're done, right? What I will say is that if it was given the kind of push that it deserves, I think that it will have a similar impact to, I guess, what Stormzy did with his first album, in a sense that for me it was a great album. It's not some of our best UK albums that's come out, but it was symbolic in a sense that it reminded a lot of people that you don't have to represent yourself in a certain light, in a certain way that people have been. You get what I'm saying?
You can break the mold.
Yeah, you can break the mold essentially.
Yeah.
It's that reminder to other rappers, other musicians, to listeners to understand that, especially people that are not from the quote unquote culture, that you know what, like basically black men are not all like this. You know what I mean? It's that representation. And I think that's what the impact it would have had. You know what I mean?
And I think, sorry, go on.
Like,
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like I would be more interested in how this sparks off other creatives within the space to make music.
Yeah.
Because I think listening to this album for the first time, it was so radically different to anything that I had really experienced prior. Right. But the thing is that for me, Kofi Stone can't just be the only person out there doing this kind of music.
Facts.
But I think there's a lot of people sitting on this kind of vibe who may not have like the courage to step forth because they don't really see too much of a place or space for them in the marketplace, you know.
I think that's sorry.
No, go
I think that's the word. It's the courage. It's courage. Like, I mean, it takes a lot to do what he's done, and even though we're getting it 3 years later in this room, I mean, like in terms of us,
3 years.
It's 3 years. Yeah, so,
wow.
I mean, that's quite dated for 3 years if you think about it. 2019. 2 years. 1920.
It was 2019.
Yeah, 2019 they came out, right? So so like 3 years later, it's getting the. Even though we're saying it's getting the recognition, is it actually getting the recognition that it deserves?
Only in this room.
In this room. Do you know what I mean? I mean, hopefully this goes away to, and that's no disrespect to him because obviously we know it's a great project, but I think it's the courage. Like I was going to say, it's the courage to do it and give other people the inspiration to do it. Like you said, there must be other artists that's doing it. There are other artists that are doing it, but it's not getting the recognition that it deserves. Also, he's done it in such a quality way that it's showing them artists that it's not a case of going in and dipping their toe in something mainstream, and it's just be you and do what you need to do, like be a lyricist and be an artist and be what you want to be, kind of thing. And it gives them that courage to do it, and hopefully they get the clout that they deserve.
Personally, I think it's more so a reflection of just like where the industry's at. You know what I mean? Because like you said, placement is a big thing. You get what I'm saying? Like as a recording artist myself, I couldn't tell you where best to put my stuff because it doesn't fit in the conventional. I'll put it on JRM, I'll put it on Link, I'll put it in these sort of platforms. So it's like, where do you put it? So it might not even necessarily that people don't have the courage to put it out. You just won't see it because it's not in the conventional platforms. You get what I'm saying? So there's that, and then also like, unfortunately, not every listener is like us. You get what I'm saying? Some people just do appreciate that microwave music, the music that you can listen to.
Commodity music.
You know what I mean? So there's that. And let's not disregard the fact that someone like Kofi Stone, relatively, like compared to like other artists that are similar to him, he's probably doing pretty well. He's probably self-sufficient. He's like I was told earlier that he sold that he's a whole tour. So there's enough people to listen for someone of his caliber, so it's sustainable. But it's just not as much as we think it deserves.
Or it deserves.
You know what I mean? And I guess that comes down to because the bigger you get, the more mainstream it is. Those listeners are not just inclined to listen to this sort of music. The way it should be received, as we said earlier. So,
No, good points. I think something that really kind of surprised me on this album was how he was so quickly like endorsed, you know, by the music community on this one, because you do have some heavyweights on the album, relatively speaking, bro. You know, you've got Loyal Kana, you have Maverick Sabre, you know. So what were your thoughts on like their contributions to the album?
I mean, for me, seeing those features, I was like, okay, who is this guy? Because these are not small fries, bro. And Maverick Sabre don't really do features with people like that. You get what I'm saying? So I was just like, bro, like AD, Suleiman, who else was on there? Those are quite a few people. Yeah, and I was just like, bro, okay, that's sick. And that, again, I think that's just testament to the talent and testament to the lane he's in. You get what I'm saying? So that's one. And then secondly, he was probably able to do that from just like Busking and just people being amazed and being like, yo,
What he can do.
someone needs to tap in with this guy. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I think that's what I got from listening to him in general. Like, I was just like, he's definitely learned a lot from Busking.
Yeah.
Because, like you were saying, you know, being able to, you know, say your lyrics in a way that's going to be received well. Yo, when you're on the street and nobody cares and everyone's trying to get on with their day, it has to be hard hitting, innit? It has to be, it needs to be good enough or emotionally intelligent enough, like you said, for it to hit someone and be like, yeah, what do you say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me go back.
Yeah.
In terms of the features as well, like just to touch on what you're saying, it seems like they had the respect for him to do the features. So like, it's not a case of just, oh, I've got this track and I'm this person, so you want to work together. It's more, oh, that's cold. Like, yeah, I'll jump on that. Like, do you know them ones? It's more of it seemed genuine. It seemed like a real genuine, every collab seemed genuine. It didn't seem just, oh, let's put these two together because they're good or someone's doing it. It felt like it was them that just almost sat in the studio and said, yeah, let's make this song, or, you know, bouncing off each other, or it felt very, very organic in terms of the features themselves.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought him and Lil Kana had such great chemistry on that tune, man. You know,
Agreed.
Like I really liked Lil Kana's verse where you thought he was gonna like stop, and then you continue,
and you hear the chorus.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Like,
and,
all right, guys,
and he even says, "Wait." Like,
yeah,
exactly.
You know, and I think as you were saying, as both you were saying, as far as like microwave music, I think music itself has been condensed to such a commodity now, as far as, you know what, let me just churn out as much music as I can as fast as possible without really you know, taking enough care of it.
Right.
You know, and it's like when we're using that Lil Kana as an example where he just did that little thing, it's still something which adds a nice twist, a nice texture to the project, to where you can listen to it. You know that is actually sick. Yeah. You know, and it's nice to actually have two artists come on the track and push each other, not to necessarily outbar each other to death, but more so to make the song better.
Yes.
You know,
to complement each other, like you say. And I think like what you said about them doing the features based on respect, I think that's where artists like this, that's where they win, innit? You're not necessarily, like we've agreed, like you're not gonna hit the masses like that.
Yeah.
What you're gonna do, you're gonna climb the ladder through different artists.
Yeah.
Through the respect that you gain through your other artists, and that in itself will, you know, once you work with one artist, their fan base is gonna turn to you, etc. So that's how someone like him is gonna win.
I think what's quite genius about this album is the title, right? But then also how it ties into like the concept of like busking, right? And how he has, I don't know what you feel about busker flow, bro, but I think that's one of the best. That's one of the best like lyrical acrobats that I've seen in a long while, man.
And I even liked the story before it.
Yeah, I can't listen to the song without the story.
But he's storytelling, like he's telling the story, and it's almost poetic. It's almost like a spoken word.
Yeah,
with the music behind it, like you got the melodies behind it, and he's speaking, and then he jumps into busker flow, and it's like, oof. Yeah, all right. I can see why nobody cares until everybody dies. I can almost in my head see him just with the speaker, like you see on the art, like you can see the speaker, and I can see him spitting, and the woman just stopping, and then other people being like, oof, and then the crowd forming. He's painting the picture so well that I can see it in my head. Yeah. Like it's almost like I was there on the day that it happened. You know what I mean? It's mad, and to tie that into the concept of the album of nobody cares until everybody does. It's genius. It's very good, man.
Go on, Fred. I know you got a lot to say.
Yeah, no, like I said, man, like this, like busking is the for me is the main sort of like thread in this album. And yeah, that busker flow is stupid.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't take a break for however long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, right? And for me, like as a rapper, it just made me feel like, right, okay, cool. So every Wednesday, maybe I should go in. And because, bro, like,
Yeah.
that's gonna like fortify your thing. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
gonna. It just made me respect it a lot more. And again, that's why I'm tapped in now. You get
Yeah,
why I'm
yeah.
tapped in because I respect the craft as a listener and also as an artist. So yeah, amazing.
Also, sorry, is it just as with buskers, you don't really see. Like, you do see it, but it's not like a common thing to see in the UK anyway. To see rapping buskers, like you'll see someone with an instrument or something, and you
Yeah.
can go to certain places and see it. But just as your average normal, I think it's something that's quite not niche, but it's just different.
Something
It's
which is
nothing
quite
that
rare.
Yeah, that's quite rare, and not even if it happens not with a crowd. Like normally you might hear like walk past a couple people, like, oh yeah, that's quite good, da, da, da. But not that scale sort of thing, you know.
It's hard to do well
Exactly.
because no one really wants to get spoken to.
Right.
I fall asleep when people speak to me too long. You get what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying? So no one really but that comes 360 back to his talent, innit? Like,
Yeah.
he's saying the right things in the right way to make people stop, innit? You know what I mean? So
That's it.
yeah, there's levels, man. There's really
Holding
levels.
attention, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the whole thing of like being a busker.
yeah.
And so coming to his album now is again holding your attention and not stopping because I don't want you to go.
Yeah.
I want you
Yeah.
to stay here and listen. And as soon as I stop, you'll be like, okay, I got to go get my bus.
Yeah.
And so just all ties into it.
Yeah, the grassroots of this album is just strong, man. It's just mad. It's mad strong. Like, I think this album reminded me of like Reasonable Doubt in the sense of not just really the rapping style, but more so how that album was just so good and how it like set the foundation for Jay's career, which would really just blossom into being one of the best careers hip hop has ever seen. You know, but it wasn't something which you could listen to and be like, oh, this is commercial. It was really someone who is technically proficient and had something to say that people to this very day still resonate with. And that's where like the similarities with that album kind of goes with me. But I guess on that note, like, where would you say Kofi Stone goes from here? Like, is this something that he can top? Does he go more commercial? Like, what do you lot think the future holds for him?
I think that's a massive question because, and that's what I'm intrigued about. I think as much as I think that he can top it. It might not even be a topping thing. It might just be shifting to this, so being along the same level.
Okay.
And then diversifying the music itself to bring in a bigger fan base as well. So like lyrically, and well, lyrically, I should just lyrically, I don't think there's stopping it.
Yeah.
But in terms of conceptually and everything around it, you can top it as such. But that's why I give it the 4.9 because it was like there's not really much I can see apart from moving that way rather than that way, if that makes sense. It's just doing something else and showing me what else you can do with your talent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just intrigued to see what he does next.
Cool.
I'm inclined to disagree.
Go on.
I hear space to grow, personally.
Yeah. Always.
I think because, one, like I said earlier, there's a lot more artists that are in that sort of lane that will give him the respect because of his talent that he can work with that are bigger than the talent that he's already worked with. So that in itself will help him propel. I think we already spoke about how, you know, he can do a melody, he can, you know, he's quite melodic, etc. The brother can hold a note, fam. I want to hear more range. I want to hear more range, like, you get what I'm saying? Because, like, again, I heard it and I was like, bro, I want more of this, you know. I'm trying to remember what song it was specifically, but I was just like, this is it.
Yeah.
If you do this and just elevate this a bit more, do a couple more of these, like, now you're opening up. Now you're opening yourself up to a lot more listeners, you get me? I think there's definitely space to grow, man.
You know, I'm just thinking of some other songs too. You got Dirty Air Forces.
Yeah.
You see that there as well?
Oh, man.
Like, you see,
That's an
like
anthem,
that,
you know.
It's an anthem.
Yeah.
That's definitely like one of my favorite songs on there,
Yeah.
100%, because it's somewhat of a sing-along. It's an unconventional one, but it's a sing-along. You get what I'm
Dirty
saying?
Air
And
Forces,
that opens you up. You get what I'm saying? And I think, to be honest with you, I'd like to think that that's not his best.
Okay.
100,
Like,
yeah.
because with my rapper head on, I'm just like, everything that I've done before, I'm better than now.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'd like to think that he's going to do a bit more life and just
Tell us
come
about
back
it.
and do more bits. You
Yeah,
get what I'm
yeah.
saying? So I think onwards and uppers.
Do you think that this may be an album that someone or people tend to always compare him to?
I think that's always going to be the case, innit?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
with Jay-Z, who doesn't always refer back to Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get what I'm saying? But I think as long as because from what I hear, especially with the busking element, your thing just has to be undeniable, bro.
Yeah.
You just have to go out and just feel like, yo, whoever hears me is going to feel me.
Yeah.
I might be underheard, but I'm always felt. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
That's the energy that, if he carries that on, yo, the sky's the limit, in my opinion.
Even in listening to a couple of the tracks, like more recently dropped tracks that he's dropped, it's like he's doing what you're saying. If that makes sense.
Do you
Like,
get what
he's
I'm
got-
saying?
He's got a few. Like he's got a feature with I think Tiana Major 9 and someone else, and it's like, okay, I
Jacob
kinda
Banks
see
I saw.
where you're- huh?
I saw you he dropped something with Jacob Banks maybe about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah,
Broken Share.
yeah.
Have you heard it, Zoe?
Yeah, banging.
Yeah?
That was
See?
banging.
Listen, what a
This is
speaker
it.
there. What a speakers. Run it.
We have to run it. But yeah, like from those little things, I'm like, all right, okay. It's just so my answer really was more in terms of the body of work. Like
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So in terms of like him excelling in terms of singles and stuff, we're already seeing it.
Yeah,
We're seeing what he's doing next. But it's the work that all in one is that, I think that's the harder bit to do.
Bro,
Yeah,
iron
yeah.
sharpens iron, bro.
Yeah, facts, you're right. You're right.
Iron
Yeah.
sharpens iron.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Zoe, I want to hear what you think.
Mm.
Where he goes from here.
I feel like if he was to come with anything like what he started with, I'd be very happy. Even if he came like with another album that was like little brother to this, I'd be happy. I feel like he could stay on that level playing field, and as a listener, I'd be happy. Do you know what I mean? I feel
With you.
if he went into the commercial side of life, things could get shaky, and it's that whole thing is just like industry-wise, just not letting people deter you from where you've come from.
Facts, yeah.
Because as much as a lot of it, like you said, that microwave music, but some can just creep through and touch you in a different way. So if he was to do that, but I think he could definitely excel more than where he is now. But again, if he doesn't, I'm not mad, because where he is now, my children will be listening to that at one point.
yeah.
And that's the thing, innit? It's like what he's done so far is already sort of so impactful and already,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm
Timeless?
looking for? Timeless.
Timeless?
It's already that. It's already that. So.
I think what's interesting with him, and I guess this kind of speaks to the conversation of like him potentially being like mainstream and whatnot, is that I find him quite unassuming in the sense of he isn't being pretentious. He isn't trying to sell anyone a lifestyle. He's really just kind of speaking from the heart. And I think if we kind of like look at the US as an example of that, we have like two of its biggest rap stars in Kendrick and J. Cole kind of holding that position and really kind of carving out a new lane for people to kind of like just be themselves and but still have
Commercial
mass
success.
appeal.
But that's the thing, though. America's a different market.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And it allows for that, so they can have that quote unquote niche sound, but still have a mass market appeal.
But someone needs to break the mold, though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Another thing is that we are a small country, innit?
Yeah,
we are a
yeah.
small country, and we're our industry, and the black music in general is still fairly young in this country. You get what I'm saying? So
The infrastructure.
the infrastructure, perfect. Thank you. It's still fairly young, so we still got some
Some time to go.
some a while to go.
Even
Yeah.
with that, like the fact that we are becoming, because it is so young, and what people are hearing like outside of the UK, they are still hearing heavy grime, and so they are very much so like, okay, the UK is known for that, because of the age, that because it is so young. But over time, I think that will grow, and it will be like, okay, the others will be able to hear variety from us and not just think, oh, they just rap and da, 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 da.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Like that point is so important, because even like if you look at the forefront of, I guess, Black UK music at the moment, is drill.
Yeah.
Straight.
What drill's able to do is able to give international light on the UK and the UK scene. So over time, like Zoe's saying, once people start digging deeper, they're gonna find all
Kofi
these
Stone.
gems,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And that's essentially what happened with grime.
Yeah.
It took for a few people, like your Skeptas and etc., to go over, mingle, come back, people do their research, and there's a whole
scene
we
here.
found a diamond mine.
Yeah,
You get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just timing, really. You know what I mean? And yeah, people just got to keep pushing, man.
Cool. Go on. You got something?
No, not really. No, I was gonna say, in terms of, like, I think I said this before as well with the TED Nest. Like, it's a case of if there was an American or whoever else, and they said, "Oh, what's UK music?" or I would be very proud to say, "Oh, here you go, listen to Kofi Stone."
Yeah.
That's a rapper. There we go. That's a rapper from the UK, and I'm almost 90% sure that they're gonna rate it.
Yeah.
So it's one of them ones where I'm proud of that in terms
And
of
then
influence.
also see that it competes with the people on the other side of the pond
This is
as well.
it. Yes.
They do
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
You know
Not
what I'm saying?
Reebok,
I think even more than that, it's just more so I'll be like, this is life. This is like what life's like in the UK.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This
it's deeper than that, yeah.
This is a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of-
yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
I think everything else that you're listening to, that shit happens, but it's not really that
Yeah.
true to what happens on
But this is-
on the ground
yeah,
level.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
So-
cold. Yeah.
Cool. I think we'll wrap it up there. You know, I think that was, really in depth.
Yeah.
Great discussion. I guess before we end, is there like any kind of final last thoughts that you don't wanna add?
I think for me, it'll be interesting, if someone like a Kofi Stone could get in touch and let us know if what we're saying resonates with him.
Yeah.
You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because
yeah.
we can make our assumptions, but we never know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see like if this hit home. You get what I'm saying? And if we are sort of on the right path. But yeah, an amazing artist, man. And yeah, we're looking forward to hearing more, man. Yeah, definitely inspired me.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm going in the booth today.
also, nobody cares until everybody does.
Yo.
Yeah.
And hopefully this goes away to helping everybody care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's my last thing to be fair.
Yeah.
I think I just say it's been 3 years, so something to come out now
Yes.
would be nice to compare, contrast.
Yeah.
Kofi, when you're ready.
Yeah.
Very true, innit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks everyone, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then thanks. And thank you all for tuning in. As always, like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna always be hitting you, with great content regarding hip hop music. So yeah, stay tuned. And I'm gonna leave it there. And bless, and see you next time. Peace.